Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. We're back on the charts today. We're going to be doing some top-down analysis. Um, Top-down analysis is something that traders use to basically gather what the overall trend is for a particular stock or ETF or whatever they're trading. And we're going to be working off of a monthly, weekly, and then daily chart. And then kind of maybe looking at the 1 hour a little bit for entry. So this is something that a swing trader would probably use as far as the time frames on the monthly, weekly, daily. And you'd be looking to swing that trade maybe over the course of a couple of days or maybe a week or even a couple of weeks, just depending on the stock and how it moves. So I picked Coca Cola today. So we're going to be looking at Coca Cola. It's a pretty stable stock, one that moves fairly liquid, but it's not super sporadic like maybe a Tesla or something like that. And the ticker symbol for Coca-Cola is KO. As you can see, we're back on webull, and we do have just a blank chart right now. And so what I'm going to be doing is this is actually the monthly chart here. For the monthly chart, I'll be color coding everything so that it kind of makes more sense to you all. So when I'm marking up the monthly chart, I'll be using like an orange color. I'll use a yellow color for the weekly and a blue color for the daily. Just so we're not confused when we're looking at the different time frames. So one of the first things you want to kind of do when you're looking from the top down, as far as the top down analysis, being on a monthly chart, we want to find areas where the stock has supply and demand zones. And I know we talked a little bit about support and resistance. Support being where, the stock kind of wants to hold, buyers step in. Resistance where sellers are starting to step in and the stock is starting to, go into a downtrend. So we're going to use a horizontal line here for our markings. So I'm going to hit click here. And like I said, I want to use an orange color since we're on the monthly time frame. And so this area right here, you're going to pretty much see this area, like I say, on most every chart. This is during the pandemic when everything kind of just crashed down. So you're going to see these candlestick patterns pretty much on any chart that you look at. But what's good about that is that you can see that the stock has been in an uptrend, consistently in an uptrend. As a matter of fact, let's just look at that first. Let me click off of here. And as you can see, the stock has just, it's started, let's see here. Let's go all the way back. Let's see if we can go back to, it started off at around 5 cents at a low or so back in the 70s. So, I mean, man, that's crazy. Coca-Cola's been around for a really long time. Their stock has been around for a really long time. And obviously, it's a pretty stable stock, not going anywhere. So as we can see, it's been in an uptrend for the most part since its inception. In this time frame area, looks like around 98 to around 2010 or so, it was kind of in a sideways motion, didn't really go anywhere, stayed in a range. But after that, it just kind of took off and just gapped up and never looked back. It went from like $9 and some change, jumped up to $21 and some change. I'm not sure what happened during this time frame, but it really never looked back. So this is a monthly chart, each candle representing 1 month. And so what we're going to do now is kind of mark off some areas where we feel like there's support and resistance. And a key area I feel is where it fell during the pandemic because it bounced. Let me change this color to orange. And let's make it a little bit thicker so we can actually see it. Okay. So you can see where it dropped all the way down, but bounced right off of there where buyers stepped right in and pushed the price right back up. So I obviously I want to mark this as a level of support because the stock was supported at this level, at the 32.99 level. And if we look back in time, we can also see it bounced off of that level multiple times in the past. and kind of hung out in this area multiple times in the past. This zone right here really is like a zone, would be an area of support long term over a monthly chart. Another area I want to look at is going to be probably right in here. And again, these are not exact. This is like an area, really. It's an estimate, but you want to kind of just mark off areas where you know that buyers are going to step in or sellers are going to step in, so that you're aware of places to enter and exit trades. Okay. We also can put one all the way at the top here because this is where it reached its peak. Make that orange. And really, like I said, it's an area. Let's make this a little bigger. You can see the lines. And honestly, I'd like to move this down just a little bit because I like to place my lines where the candlesticks have touched multiple times. And as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4 times, in this area here. So it's been bouncing off of this area. This is basically a level of resistance on the monthly chart. So we got, some decent areas here for the monthly. Now let's drop on down to the weekly. And let's see what we have on the weekly for levels. So I'm going to definitely call this area out here. I'm going to change this to yellow. Like I said, we're on the weekly chart. We'll make it a little bigger. And so you can see in this area where it uptrend, 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 boom, ceiling, resistance, came all the way back down. Once again, that's the area where the pandemic was. So you can see more detail here as to how it kind of behaved as far as price action. Okay. So then it came on back up again, came back up here, boom, ceiling again. So hit it multiple times and came back down to a monthly support. And it's traded in this range for a bit until it finally did break this weekly resistance and found another ceiling or resistance from the monthly chart that we did here. And so now it's kind of been trading in this range between the weekly and the monthly, the weekly support and the monthly resistance. And so we're still in an uptrend though. As you can see, we're still in an uptrend because it's still making higher lows and higher highs. So we're still in an uptrend on the weekly. So we were in an uptrend. Let's go back to the monthly. Obviously, we were in an uptrend on the monthly. That's super clear. We are in an uptrend on the weekly. That's also pretty clear. And if we drop down to the daily, zoom out a little bit here, we actually are kind of starting to trade in a range, but we're still in an uptrend. And the reason why I say that is because if I draw a trend line from this last low and kind of bring it up this way, as you can see, we haven't broken this, actually this last low right here. So we haven't broken this upward trend yet. So we're still in an uptrend, even though it's a little bit choppy on the daily. It looks a little bit different on the daily. We can safely say that we're on an uptrend on the monthly, on the weekly, on the daily. So if we can confirm uptrend on all three of the time frames, then we're looking to buy stock, buy the stock. We're just going to be looking for entry points to get in at a decent price, right? So now that we're in a daily chart, we're going to mark off some levels as well. So let's go back to our horizontal line. And I clearly see a level down in here. It's not exact, but it's definitely a level down in here. Make it a little bit bigger. I also see a level here. And why am I pointing these levels out? Well, when it crossed over here, it just kind of took off again, right? Big green candle, kind of gapped up a little bit, took off. In addition to looking back at the chart, we can see that support and resistance can be interchangeable. Okay, so what was once resistance back here, it broke out, then became support here and held. Came back up, came back down, broke through. So now that support is no longer support. Came back and found support here. Okay, and then came back up, broke through resistance again, came back but couldn't reach the monthly, came back, kind of consolidated here, came back down, broke through what was support, came back down, kind of came back up, and broke through what was support and now resistance, excuse me. And you can see how this is interchangeable. Support can be resistance and vice versa, depending on where you are on the chart. But if you're seeing that it's kind of gravitating to those spots multiple times, then you know that's where buyers and sellers are sitting. That's where buyers and sellers orders are sitting. So for me, looking at the daily chart, now I'm looking and saying, okay, well, as the pattern goes, you know, no stock goes straight up. I will be looking for this to either do one of three things: continue upwards here, test this resistance on the monthly, possibly come back down, or not even try to test this again, but to come back down here first and test the support on the daily, bounce off the daily, maybe come back up, or it could trade sideways. So the stock's going to go up, it's going to go down, or it's going to go sideways. So those are the three directions that a stock will move. And so if we're looking for entry, for me personally, I would probably wait for this to come back and test the support down in this area on the daily. And entry would be somewhere in this area for a swing trade back up towards our monthly resistance. So we're looking at about, so this is the price of range right here is about $61. And we're looking at about $64. So that's about $3 per share that you could potentially make on a trade if you were to enter down here for an exit somewhere up in here. Now, you don't have to look at these charts all day and, you know, wait to see when the price is going to hit there. You can always set an alert. So here's another little tip for you guys here for webull. You want to right click on the chart and you see you have options. You can actually buy from this. You can choose your drawings from here. You can create a new order, and you can also create an alert. So what I would probably do is set an alert around 61.15 or so. And basically what this is going to say, price below. So when the price goes below 61.15, I'll get an alert. I'll get an alert if I'm on the my laptop and I'm logged into webull. I'll also get an alert on my phone because I have the webull app. So I'm going to save that. And so when the price reaches below 61.15, I may be looking to get into a long trade or a bullish trade on Coca Cola for a swing trade for maybe $2 or $3. Now, where would I put my stop loss? You know, we're getting into the actual order now. I don't want to go into too much detail, but if you did enter a trade around this area, you would want to put your stop loss underneath this like area here where this last kind of low was before it took off. So we'll be probably around that 59.68.70 area. So you're risking a couple dollars to make a few dollars on that. Now you could always have it a little tighter, especially when you want to focus on your risk to reward and you want to try to get a 2-to-1 or a 3-to-1 risk to reward. You can always have the stop loss a little tighter, but just keep in mind that this is an area of support. So the stock could dip a little bit below it, and you don't want to get stopped out and then it go back up in your direction. So just some things to keep in mind. But really, this video was to go over a quick top-down analysis on a stock, focusing on the monthly, weekly, daily, and then really, if we drop down to the hourly, we can see how far it's gone past support. We can also do what's called throw an EMA or a moving average on here to kind of see where it is with the moving average. It's the 20-day moving average. And we can see it's still holding the moving average. It's still, the moving average is really supporting it. So it's still very much on an uptrend. And I do very much so see this going further, going higher. So that's it, guys. Top-down analysis on Coca Cola. So please leave any questions in the comment section below. And please like, share, subscribe as always. And I will see you all next week in the next video.